He had everything: money, fame, awards, the life millions dream about. Yet every night he stared at the ceiling, feeling a strange silence inside. What if success isn't the end, but the beginning of a different search? This is the story of the man who conquered everything and still felt nothing. The applause was thunderous. Cameras flashed. Arjun stood on the grand stage of the International Business Awards, holding a glass trophy that glittered under the golden lights. The host announced, "Entrepreneur of the Year, Arjun Mehta." The crowd rose to their feet. His team cheered. Journalists shouted his name, and somewhere a giant LED screen displayed his face. Confident, charming, and successful. Arjun smiled, waved, and thanked everyone. But deep inside, he felt nothing. He had rehearsed his acceptance speech a dozen times, but when he began speaking, his words felt hollow. He thanked his investors, his parents, his hard-working team, but each sentence echoed like an empty hallway. When the ceremony ended, he sat alone in his limousine. The city lights flickered past the tinted glass. His assistant texted, "Congratulations, sir. You did it again." Arjun typed back a single word, "Thanks." He looked at the trophy resting beside him. It was cold. Beautiful, but cold. And that night, when he finally lay in his penthouse bed overlooking Mumbai's skyline, sleep refused to come. For the first time in years, success felt empty. 10 years earlier, Arjun Mehta was just a dreamer from a small town in Gujarat. His father was a school teacher. His mother stitched clothes to help the family survive. He used to study under a dim lantern, whispering to himself, "One day I'll make it big. One day I'll change everything." And he did. He graduated with top honors, got into a premier university, and started a tech company from a rented room. He worked 20 hours a day, surviving on coffee, determination, and the quiet fire of ambition. His startup grew. Investors noticed. Clients multiplied. At 28, he was on magazine covers, the visionary of the new India. At 30, he bought his parents a house in Mumbai. At 32, he became a millionaire. At 33, he became famous, but with every milestone, he noticed something strange. The more he achieved, the less it meant. He kept chasing the next goal, the next award, the next expansion, the next acquisition. But every success faded faster than the last. Happiness became a flicker, gone before he could hold it. After the award night, Arjun hosted a party at his villa. Music, laughter, champagne, it was all there. Yet he stood at the balcony, watching his guests dance, his smile fading slowly. A friend joined him and said, "Arjun, why do you look like someone died? You just won the biggest award in Asia." Arjun chuckled. "Maybe that's the problem. I've been winning for so long. I forgot why I started." His friend laughed, thinking it was a joke, and walked away. But Arjun kept staring at the city lights. When the clock struck midnight, he quietly slipped out. He drove aimlessly through the streets, past sleeping slums, past half-finished buildings, past beggars huddled near fires. He parked near the sea. The wind was cold. He sat on the rocks, listening to the waves crash. A street boy came up, selling roses. "Sir, ek phool le lo, sir, buy one flower?" Arjun smiled sadly. "Why are you selling flowers this late?" The boy grinned. "Maa ki dawai ke liye paisa chahiye. I need money for my mother's medicine." Arjun bought all the flowers. The boy's eyes lit up like the stars above. "Thank you, sir. Now Ma will be fine," he said, running away. And in that fleeting moment, something stirred inside Arjun, something he hadn't felt in years. Warmth, meaning, he realized. That boy looked happier selling flowers than I feel holding a trophy. The next morning, Arjun canceled all meetings. His manager was confused. "Sir, are you unwell?" Arjun smiled faintly. "Maybe I am. Just not the kind of illness a doctor can fix." He packed a small bag, left his phone behind, and told his driver, "Take me to the hills." He didn't know where exactly, just away from everything that looked like success. After hours of driving, he reached a small village near Rishikesh. The air smelled of rain and pine. Life there moved slowly, children laughing, cows grazing, old men sipping tea under banyan trees. Arjun booked a small guest house run by an old couple. The husband, Hari, smiled and said, "City people come here tired. This place gives them rest." Arjun nodded silently. He didn't tell anyone who he was. For the first time in years, he was just a man, not a brand. One evening, as he walked along the riverbank, he met a monk sitting under a tree feeding birds. The monk looked up and said, "You look heavy." Arjun laughed. "Heavy? I haven't eaten all day." The monk smiled. "Not the stomach. The soul." Arjun sat beside him. They talked for hours. Arjun shared everything. His success, his emptiness, his confusion. The monk listened quietly, then said, "You've climbed a mountain, my friend. But maybe—" "It was the wrong one," Arjun frowned. "Wrong one?" The monk pointed toward the horizon. "You spent years climbing for yourself. Every step fed your ego, not your heart. When the ego wins, the heart loses. That's why you feel empty at the top." Arjun sat in silence. The words pierced deeper than any criticism he'd ever received. The monk asked Arjun to visit the river every morning and watch it flow. "Don't do anything. Just watch," he said. For the first few days, Arjun thought it was pointless. But slowly, the simplicity of the river began to teach him. It flowed tirelessly, never holding back, never demanding anything in return. It gave life to trees, animals, and people, without expecting applause. And that's when he understood. True success is like the river. It gives, not gathers. He remembered all the people he had ignored while building his empire. His college friend who wanted to start a school. His old employees who needed time off for their families. Even his parents, whom he rarely visited anymore. He had built towers of achievement, but not bridges of meaning. Weeks passed. Arjun stayed in the village, helping Hari and his wife with small chores, serving tea, fixing lights, teaching local kids how to use computers. He began to feel something shift inside. At night, he'd sit under the stars, no noise, no emails, no applause, and yet he felt more alive than ever before. One day, the monk asked, "So, what have you learned?" Arjun replied, "That success without meaning is like water without taste. It looks pure but quenches nothing." The monk smiled. "Then your real journey begins now." After a month, Arjun returned to Mumbai. But this time, he wasn't the same man who left. His office still smelled of expensive perfume and ambition, but his eyes searched for something deeper. He called his management team. "I've made a decision," he said. They all looked up. "We're going to start a foundation, an education initiative for underprivileged children. 10% of our profits will go there every year. No excuses." The room was silent. One executive asked, "Sir, won't that affect our growth targets?" Arjun smiled. "If growth only means numbers, then we've been shrinking for years." And that day, something beautiful began. Months later, Arjun visited one of the rural schools funded by his foundation. The classrooms were small but alive with laughter. Kids sat on mats drawing dreams on paper, dreams that once seemed impossible. A little girl handed him a drawing. It was a picture of a man handing books to children. She said shyly, "Thank you, Uncle." Arjun smiled, his eyes wet. For the first time in his life, success felt full. Not because of a headline, not because of applause, but because his success now meant something to someone else. Years passed. The foundation grew. Thousands of children found education. Thousands of families found hope. Arjun still ran his company, but his days began with gratitude, not goals. His nights ended with peace, not pressure. He still won awards, but now he gave them away, auctioning them to raise funds for education. In an interview, a journalist asked, "Arjun, after all your achievements, what's your biggest success?" He smiled, learning that success is not about how high you climb, but how many people you lift along the way. Years later, Arjun visited the same river where he had met the monk. The old monk was gone, but the river still flowed, calm, constant giving. Arjun closed his eyes and whispered, "Thank you for showing me what truly matters." As he sat there, a group of young volunteers from his foundation walked by, carrying boxes of books to nearby villages. They greeted him with smiles. He watched them go, their laughter echoing through the valley. And in that quiet moment, he realized the emptiness was gone. He had found what all his success had failed to give him, meaning. In his final speech to a group of young entrepreneurs, Arjun said, "When I was younger, I thought success was about being seen. But now I know it's about what you see in others. It's not about collecting trophies. It's about touching lives. The world celebrates your achievements, but only your soul celebrates your purpose. And when purpose walks beside success, that's when life finally feels whole. The audience rose in applause. This time Arjun smiled, not because he was being celebrated, but because he finally knew why he was alive. When success felt empty, Arjun didn't quit. He questioned. He stepped away, searched within, and returned not just as a winner, but as a giver. And that is the ultimate victory, to fill the silence of success with the music of purpose. Moral: success that only serves you will always feel empty, but success that serves others will always feel alive.